Script. Today, we're remembering Jamal Khashoggi, the brave Saudi writer and Washington Post columnist whose fearless pen made him a global symbol of free speech and the high cost of dissent. His brutal murder on October 2, 2018, at age 59, shocked the world and exposed the dark underbelly of Saudi Arabia's regime, sparking outrage, investigations, and a legacy that still fuels fights for justice today. We're covering it all. The shocking details of his cause of death, his wife and the love that sustained him, his age, family and kids, net worth, lifestyle, and a full biography that takes you from his Medina childhood to his final stand in Istanbul. This is gonna be a long, unflinching tribute packed with the facts, the heartbreak, and the heroism that define Jamal. Whether you're a news junkie, remember the headlines from 2018, or just want to know the man behind the tragedy, grab a coffee, get comfy, and let's honor Jamal Khashoggi, a voice that silenced the silence. Here we go. Let's start from the beginning with Jamal's biography, because his life was a riveting tale of insider access, growing disillusionment, and a courageous turn toward truth-telling that made him one of the most influential Arab journalists of his era. Jamal Ahmad Hamza Khashoggi was born on October 13, 1958, in Medina, Saudi Arabia, one of Islam's holiest cities, into a family with deep ties to the kingdom's elite. His father, Ahmad Hamza Khashoggi, owned a modest fabric shop in the bustling souks, while his mother, Isaf al-Daftardar, came from a respected Turkish origin family that had migrated to the Hijaz region centuries earlier during the Ottoman era. The name Khashoggi even means spoon maker in Turkish, a nod to their artisanal roots. Jamal was the eldest of several siblings, including brothers Saul, Sheikh Riyadh, Saudi Arabia's first industrial engineer and a scholar, Wadi, and sisters Samiha, Sana, and Sulwa. Growing up in a middle-class home amid the pilgrimage crowds of Medina, Jamal was exposed to the world's diversity from a young age, but also to the rigid hierarchies of Saudi society. His uncle, Adnan Khashoggi, was a billionaire arms dealer infamous for his role in the Iran-Contra scandal, living a Gatsby-like life with a $4 billion fortune in the 1980s, a contrast to Jamal's more grounded upbringing that shaped his later critiques of unchecked power. Jamal's education was a mix of Saudi tradition and global exposure. He attended high school in Riyadh, where he honed his love for writing, then headed to Indiana State University in the U.S. for a BBA in Business Administration, graduating in 1982. Those years in Terre Haute, Indiana, opened his eyes to Western freedoms and journalism's power. He devoured American newspapers and dreamed of reporting stories that mattered. Back in Saudi Arabia, Jamal started as a regional correspondent for the Saudi Gazette in the early 1980s, covering the Afghan-Soviet war from the front lines, where he interviewed Mujahideen fighters and witnessed the birth of Al-Qaeda. It was gritty work, dodging bullets and building sources, but it launched his career. By 1985, he was deputy editor of Al-Majalla, a pan-Arab weekly, and in 1987, he joined the Arabic daily Al-Sharq Al-Awsat as a correspondent, traveling to hotspots like Afghanistan, Algeria, and Kuwait. His big break came in 1991 when he became managing editor of Al-Sharq Al-Awsat, the kingdom's flagship paper, where he shaped coverage for 1 million readers. Jamal was an insider. He advised Saudi intelligence on media during the Gulf War and ghostwrote speeches for Prince Turki Al Faisal, the kingdom's spy chief. But as Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's reforms turned repressive in the 2010s, Jamal's pen sharpened. He resigned from Al Arab News Channel in 2016 after criticizing the Crown Prince's Yemen war, and by 2017, he was in exile in Virginia, writing a Washington Post column that blasted Saudi crackdowns on dissent. His last piece, on September 26, 2018, called for Arab media to speak truth to power. Jamal's voice was a bridge, from regime loyalist to global conscience, and at 59, he was at his boldest when silenced. Fans on X are sharing his columns, saying, Jamal's words were weapons, his death was a crime against truth. Now, the part that's etched in infamy, Jamal Khashoggi's cause of death. On October 2, 2018, Jamal walked into the Saudi consulate in Istanbul to pick up marriage papers, a routine errand for his fiancée, Hadise Cengiz, waiting outside. What happened inside was a premeditated horror show. A 15-man Saudi hit squad, including a forensic pathologist with a bone saw, ambushed him. Audio recordings, leaked by Turkish intelligence, captured the gruesome details. Jamal was beaten, injected with a sedative, strangled, and dismembered on a consular table. The killers bagged his remains and smuggled them out, dissolving the body in acid, a method confirmed by UN rapporteur Agnes Calamard in her 2019 report. The operation was approved at the highest levels, with US intelligence concluding Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman ordered it to capture or kill the critic. Saudi Arabia's sham trial convicted 8 low-level patsies, sentencing 5 to death, later pardoned by Jamal's sons in 2020, but the prince faced no consequences. It's a stain on global justice, with Biden's 2021 report calling it an extrajudicial killing. X is still raging. Posts like, Jamal's murder was state terrorism, justice delayed is justice denied. Jamal was 59 at the time of his murder, born October 13, 1958, a number that underscores the cruelty of silencing a voice in full stride. At 5 feet 10 inches with a distinguished build, salt and pepper beard, and those thoughtful eyes behind glasses, Jamal was the picture of intellectual gravitas, a man whose calm demeanor hid a fierce commitment to reform. Even in exile, he exuded warmth, sipping Turkish coffee with friends and plotting his next column. Fans on X remember, 59 and Jamal was just warming up, his pen was mightier than any sword. Wife? Jamal's love life was a tapestry of commitment amid chaos. He was married 3 times, with his third ending in divorce just before his death. His first wife was Rawiya al-Tunisi, a fellow Saudi from a conservative family, whom he wed in the late 1980s. They had 4 children together, sons Sulla and Abdullah, and daughters Noha and Raisin, and shared a stable home in Riyadh during his early journalism days. The marriage ended in divorce in the 2000s, amicably, with Rawiya raising the kids while Jamal traveled. His second marriage was to Ala Nassif, a fellow media professional, in the early 2010s, but it also dissolved amid his growing criticisms of the regime. At the time of his death, Jamal was engaged to Hadise Cengiz, a 36-year-old Turkish PhD student in political science at Istanbul's Marmara University, whom he met in May 2018 at a conference. Hadise, with her sharp mind and fierce advocacy, became his partner in exile. They bonded over shared dreams of reform, and he was at the consulate that day for their marriage papers. Hadise's vigil outside, waiting for a man who never emerged, became a symbol of love's endurance. She's since become an author, writing Being Jamal Khashoggi in 2020, and a voice for press freedom. No kids with Hadise, but Jamal's 4 from Rawiya were his world, educated in the US. They've carried his torch, with sons Sulla and Abdullah forgiving his killers in 2020 to seek reward from God. Fans on X say, Jamal's wives were his strength, Rawiya the foundation, Hadise the future. Kids. Jamal had 4 children from his first marriage to Rawiya al-Tunisi, 2 sons and 2 daughters who grew up in the shadow of his public life but with the grace of their parents. Sons Sulla and Abdullah, both in their 30s by 2018, are professionals in the US. Sulla in business, Abdullah in tech, and they've been vocal advocates for their dad's memory, traveling to Istanbul for the 2023 anniversary and pushing for UN investigations. Daughters Noha and Raisin, also adults, are more private, with Noha pursuing studies in international relations and Raisin working in media, echoing Jamal's passion. All 4 were educated in American schools, a choice Jamal made to give them freedoms he fought for. They were his quiet joy. Jamal often shared stories of family dinners in Virginia, debating politics over kebabs. After his death, the kids issued a joint statement. Dad taught us to speak truth, his voice lives in ours. No kids.